Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the upper tier, and it's Thursday, which means only one thing. Me and my co host, the Dazzler, are here to deliver Thursday tier talk to one and all.
And don't forget, your juice boxes are all important for the next hour. Juice boxes at the ready.
Juice boxes at the ready, nice.
I love a good juice box, man.
Oh, I tell you, man, I'm banjoed at the moment. I was in the gym the last 3 days. I cannot move.
You struggling, pal?
Struggling big time. I'm sore all over.
Are you going too big too soon?
You go bigger, you go home, baby. There's no point in dilly-dallying around with
Yeah,
these
but
things.
don't forget, you know what happens, right, is you kill yourself so much that you go, I can't go back there.
No, I never do that.
No?
Never do that. Our friend and soon to be our buddy on a big trip coming up, hopefully. We might be going to the UK in
Ain't no might about it.
July. Money in the bank. Well, we have to get tickets first of all. But our buddy Morris is here. Any Shelby transfer news? Heard he's going to Arsenal, Morris.
I heard he sold 2 ponies and a carpet in the Smithfield market there on Sunday. That was the only transfer he was involved in.
And was charging top dollar as well.
He sure was.
Morris said that's what she said. Very good. Good to have you on board tonight, Morris. We are going to be bringing you, we'll keep you totally up to date on Chelsea versus Man City, which was 0-0 at half time. Certainly it's turning out to be an interesting season. But tonight we're going to be previewing for you the FA Cup, mainly the Premier League fixtures.
The good toys.
The good toys.
None of the shy tanks.
The crap is where we make our money. We'll also be bringing you Beat the Bookie. We have a few bets there as well. I prized out a few bets. And we'll also be talking some transfer news, some interesting stuff there as well.
I love an L transfer.
So back to the somewhat format that we used to do anyway after all the World Cup and Christmas and everything else. Morris back in again. Abba to get the winner tonight. Darren's man.
Oba.
I
doubt it. I saw some of his runs earlier on. The last time I saw someone run like that, they were on a Jacks.
They were warming up.
Jesus wept. And actually, do you know what? He made a dart earlier on. Chelsea nicked the ball just around the halfway line. And he made a dart through the middle of the 2 centre-backs. Now, in fairness to him, it was a great run. Havertz took a touch, looked up, saw him running, and swung it out to the right-hand side. And I was like, Jesus Christ, what are you doing? Oh, man, he must be snapping in there. But Havertz obviously took a look and went, he's not going to get there with these 2 centre-backs. I'll send it somewhere and we'll try and hold on to it. Jesus, you don't need to be chasing our tails here. Oh, God.
I don't think I've seen a team this season like Chelsea that just don't play for each other.
I was talking to our good friend Dynamo earlier on, who from the Chelsea Roar, you know, and I was saying to begin with, it was one of the most balanced looking Chelsea sides that we've seen in a while. You know, it was square pegs and square holes. Ziyech on the right, Pulisic on the left. You know, Sterling up front, Havertz in behind. Everything was going good. 2 changes in the first 20 minutes. Sterling and Pulisic, you're like, oh my God. He's just had Mount go out yesterday in training. You're like, give the guy a break here. He's never seen the boy Fofana play. You know, like, what chance have you got?
I know how he feels. We lost Van Dijk yesterday, and apparently today we've lost Matip. So we'll be going back to Nat Phillips.
Nat Phillips and Joe Gomez. Wow. Did I see the Van Dijk injury could be a substantial one?
Yeah, it looks like apparently it wasn't as severe as what they thought, and then it became severe because they played him, whatever that means. I don't know.
So are we talking 6 to 8 weeks, or?
I'd say we're talking at least a month anyway. I'd say we're talking at least a month. But sure, it wouldn't have had an effect on our season anyway, the way things are going, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Listen, we've Cody Gapco, it's all good.
And don't forget, like, Thursday nights are highly underrated. Like, they really are. Thursday nights are great crack. You pop in from work, you're about to come on for your podcast, and you can have the lads on in the background. It's golden, don't worry about it. I've been there, bought the t-shirt, you know.
Yeah, no, I don't fancy that at all. It'd be even worse if both of us were in it, imagine.
We won't be in it, we'll be good.
Our resident referee is in the comments. not sharing the screen.
Mark, good evening to you, pal.
Happy New Year, lads. You're all looking great. I've been listening to you with our new edition, Holly. Congrats to you and Yvonne and everyone
Congrats
on
again,
Holly.
pal. Yeah.
Lovely having a Christmas baby and stuff like that. And you up the upper tier. Mark will be back on your screen soon. Don't worry.
Hope you are all doing well, Marky. Congratulations again, pal, to you and Yvonne. Well done. Love it. Great stuff.
And Ian's in the comments as well. What's the crack, Niall? Daz, how you doing? We're doing great, man. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a nice New Year.
Thanks for coming in, Ian.
Ian sent me a picture there, New Year's. He was having a nice bottle of Guinness.
Lovely.
Old school with the
old
school
label.
Bottle. Don't know where he dug it up unless they've re-released them. I don't know where he dug it up from, but
is it a little retro number that you can get from the Guinness factory or something? Maybe.
It was like a chubby long neck with the old kind of yellowy beige label.
Oh, nice.
So, hadn't seen one in a while.
That's good stuff. He might tell us. You never know.
Yeah,
he might tell us where he got
comments, but it was proper vintage stuff. Let's say. Right. Shall we begin? Let's get into this FA Cup preview for our sins. Right, not in any particular order, but we'll start. Man United versus Everton.
Yeah, we're on Friday night against Everton, Old Trafford. I'd expect Ten Hag to make a number of changes here. I suppose Dalot will come back and get a game from the start. Probably Martinez along with Maguire, and he'll probably play Malacia. Depending on how things go with Jack Butland, we might even see a newly signed Jack Butland playing goal, or it could be Tom Heaton. And then again, lots of changes going through the team. I expect Garnacho and Elanga to play and stuff like that. Rest a lot of players and have them ready for the league games. Everton, I don't think, have that luxury because they don't have a squad at the minute. They're very, very depleted all over the pitch. I think they had an awful performance against Brighton during the week. Really, really poor. Frank Lampard's under massive pressure. This could actually be a good game for Everton. And the reason I say that is nobody expects them to win. It's not a Premier League game, so they're not looking up the table at other teams. They can go and kind of play and feel a little bit freer. And you do find at times teams that are really struggling in the league to get points on the board. One of them always has a decent cup run. It could be Everton when United make a number of changes. It depends. If Everton make a number of changes as well, I fancy us to do them. But if Everton put the full side out and we make 5 or 6 changes, it'll make things a little bit more difficult for us on the night. I'm just going to say United will squeak through though.
Yeah, I would have thought so. I think there's a lot of pressure on Everton there at the moment. Marky back in the comments, our referee. All is good, lads. Cheers, appreciate it. My night just got a lot better. Josh Bowler just signed for Blackpool on loan for the rest of the season. Very good. Marky, stay tuned to our Beat the Bookie. Blackpool gets featured in it. I shall just say that. Morris back in the comments. How was Frank made it to Friday? Fucking hell. Yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't agree with you anymore, Morris.
Say nothing, Morris. Friday is still a few hours away. Yeah,
it's
anything
true,
can happen. Ian reckons 2-1 United. Yeah, not a bad.
Yeah, I think something very similar to that. I think something very, very similar. I just think with the changes, there'll be a little less cohesion there from United. And I think Everton will play a lot of the lads he's been playing because he doesn't have the squad to make wholesale changes. And I think Everton will be trying to get the confidence up and stuff like that after the other night. They'll put in a better performance, but I think we'll squeak it.
Yeah, great shout, Ian. Great shout. I suppose it depends on many changes he makes as well.
Yeah.
Palace versus Southampton. This is a huge game for Southampton, isn't it?
It's actually a huge game for both sides. Palace haven't been great in the last 3 or 4 weeks and are on the slide a little bit. And for all the good football Palace play, the points aren't there in the league just yet. Patrick Vieira is absolutely, he's not in any danger or anything like that. But Palace need to pick up some points. Again, I think this will be a welcome distraction for them. I think they have a slightly better squad than Southampton. And at home, I think Palace will win this game.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think Southampton are in serious trouble this year. Serious trouble. Morris back in the comments. He's on fire tonight. It must be this excitement of money in the bank announced and all. Palace are getting too much praise under Vieira. I've interviewed porn stars on the podcast with cleaner sheets than the Saints.
Yep, you're probably not wrong.
Absolutely. Liverpool versus Wolves.
This is a stumbling block, I'm afraid. Wolves' performances, excuse me, have have gone on an upward curve, should we say, since Julian Lopetegui took over, making life much more difficult for opposing teams. And again, with some of the injuries Liverpool have, and with the rotation that the Klopp likes to do in the cup competitions, this could be a tough game for Liverpool. It really could. I do expect Gakpo to make his debut, which will be a plus for Liverpool. But I think Wolves will try and grind something out here. And again, I see it being very similar to the United Everton game, where Liverpool might just get over the line, but it'll be sticky.
Yeah, these won't be rotation. These will be forced changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our ER room is filling up nicely at the moment. For God's sake, driving me insane. I don't know. I have a funny feeling about this one as well. I think that it could get a lot more toxic this year than it's got already. And I wouldn't be surprised if we hand back both trophies. That's the way it goes, Gillingham versus Leicester. Another man who's in trouble, Brandon Rodgers.
Yeah, again, welcome distraction for Leicester. Leicester will do a number on Gillingham here. Gillingham, as they're called, rather than Gillingham, which is what they were called in the last round of the Cup when they played Wolves. I heard one of the commentators say it was Gillingham versus Wolves. I thought, my God, wash your mouth out. Leicester will do this. They'll make a couple of changes, but again, the squad is big enough to do a number at Gillingham. And they'll be through in the next round, I think. A welcome distraction for Brendan.
Yeah, absolutely. Couple of comments. Ian, on how you doing, Morris back. Not good. Not enough goals in Wolves, Liverpool for me. Yeah, I think that's what we're saying and stuff like that.
The boy Cunha will probably make his debut, I think, as well. And he's a good footballer, this kid. Very good. His goal return isn't amazing. I would say his all-round play is an awful lot better than his goal return. But if he can go on a hot streak, he'll do a great job for Wolves.
Yeah. Should be an interesting one anyway. Tottenham versus Portsmouth.
Yeah. Again, I don't see Portsmouth troubling Tottenham much. I know, Conte, they've had a good win on during the week against Palace 4-0. It was 0-0 at half time. It was a dire game of football, actually, in the first half. Absolutely dire. But Tottenham turned on the afterburners in the second half, and Harry Kane turned on the soil, a couple of goals. Son got back in the score sheet, and that. I think he'll use this to get a lot of guys games who need it, and maybe try and create a couple of pairings and stuff that he can look after the league and stuff like that. But this is Tottenham for me. There's no upset here.
Yeah, absolutely. Morris back, Pompey to win the Harry Redknapp derby. I tell you, if Redknapp was at Pompey, we might fancy them.
I'm telling you.
I'll tell you. Bournemouth versus Burnley. This is one to stay tuned for. This features in my beat the book as well.
Yeah, this for me is the first banana skin. United played Burnley a few weeks ago in the Carabao, and they were excellent. We got through pretty much unscathed, but their ball retention is fantastic. The boy Josh Cullen in there, the Irish international, is a fabulous footballer. Really is. They've got the boy Maatsen. I think he's on loan from Chelsea. He's a smashing footballer. They've got Benson. There's quite a lot to like about Burnley, I have to say. And I think Burnley could just nick this, because again, I think Burnley will rest players. They'll give guys, a free pass and say, get yourself ready for the league game. And I think this is where Burnley could slide past them.
Yeah, this is one there you wouldn't really describe it even as a joint killer. Sure, you wouldn't, because these
absolutely
are
two
teams that are pretty much at a similar level, really.
If you're 19th in the Premier League and someone's first in the Championship, you're at the same level. And Burnley are running away with the Championship at the minute. Absolutely running away with it. Vincent Kompany has done a phenomenal job there. A phenomenal job. I won't be surprised to see him linked with a host of jobs in that Premier League. Because what he's done at Burnley, the way he's changed their style of play from what they played under with Sean Dyche, the way he's lowered the age limit or the age bracket and stuff like that, and they're solid at the back. He's used the loan market very, very well. Brought in lots of guys who were in academies in the Premier League. The boy Harwood Bellis and the boy Matson and stuff like that from Chelsea and Man City. Super, super job. Really super. And Burnley won't be as far as Vincent Company goes, I can tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely not. Another one I'm really looking forward to, Blackpool versus Nottingham Forest.
This is probably one of the games I'm actually looking forward to most, because I think this could be silly season for goals. Neither of these teams are, what you'd call watertight at the back. Forest obviously on the back of a good clean sheet away at Southampton, and getting another victory to get them a little bit closer to Brighton for my bet with Morris, which was great. Thanks, Forest. But I think Blackpool score a lot of goals, especially at home. I think Forest will come out. They'll be playing very, very freely. You'll see guys like Emmanuel Dennis, and you'll probably see Jesse Lingard if he's fit. You'll probably see a lot of guys that need games and that have to, lay a marker down for the league games. I think this could be 2-2, 3-3, something mental like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Ian, back in the comments, great podcast with Mario. Yeah, fair play. Check out Morris's channel. Doing some great stuff there at the moment. GP Productions podcast. Our ref back in the comments as well. Aaron Connolly trying a whole potential loan deal. That'd be interesting. Yeah. That wouldn't be something we'd be getting excited about, Aaron, now, wouldn't we?
Absolutely not. No, I think Connolly's in trouble at the minute. Because for all the talent he has, he's in free fall as a footballer. He's gone over to Italy.
Where was his last move? Serie B, was it? Serie B?
No, Serie A.
Oh, was it?
I think it was Serie A. Yeah, I thought it was Serie A.
I thought it was the second division he went down to. I'm not too sure. I thought it was Serie B.
I thought he went to the lower end of Serie A.
Maybe you're right.
I'm open to persuasion on that.
Yeah, I thought when we heard about that loan move, we both kind of commented that he had found his level. So I just assumed it wasn't Serie A. Marky will update us, of course. Marky, also let us know what's your prediction for Blackpool, not Forest, of course. Give us your prediction. Marky being a big Blackpool.
He was with Venezia in Serie B.
There you go. I knew it was Serie B because remember we were saying he had found his level or something like that.
He's in free fall at the minute. He really, really is. And he needs to hold this. We know the kid has talent and he has ability. At the minute, application and work rate and focus is miles away from where it needs to be. He's too busy thinking about, what Bury's banging at the weekend to think about banging goals in for his team.
He thinks he's a bigger player. There you
go. Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Spot on, Marky. Spot on. And yeah, I suppose coming from Serie B up into Hull, that's quite the step up as well, I would imagine.
Hull are a decent side. We know how difficult the championship is. Hull are a good side. He won't walk into that side either. There's a boy plays up front for Hull, Estupien, and he's quite a good footballer. He's got a couple of goals for Hull this season. And Connolly will have to work to get near that team. Really, really well.
Yeah, I was thinking that, and of course we'd revere, we would regard the championship much higher than Serie B. That's for
absolutely.
Sure.
I won't lie. I regard the championship as much higher than Serie A these days.
True. Who are you going for here? You going for Fulham?
I think Fulham. It's not a bad one actually, but I think Fulham will just get over the line in it. Just.
Here's another one you might like. Middlesbrough versus Brighton. Michael Carrick doing an outstanding job at Middlesbrough.
Michael Carrick has Middlesbrough flying. Absolutely flying. They were 17th when he came in and they're 5th now. Now we know that championship accordion's up like that, but I think they're about 6 on the bounce, 7 on the bounce unbeaten. The boy Chuba Akpom doing a great job there for them. But he actually has Middlesbrough playing a fantastic brand of football. And I don't know if you've read any of the commentary on this. There's a lot of the journalists around the Northeast and in the UK and are talking Carrick up massively about the tactical decisions he's made at Borough and how he has them playing in the interchangeable positions and how it's a very, very European approach for an English manager and stuff like that. He's being touted very highly at the minute, Michael Carrick. Even 15 games into his first position. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, he's doing. I was actually listening to some of it there at the weekend, and they were saying that I think he's undefeated since he took over or something like that.
That's right. Yeah, he is. Yeah,
which is phenomenal in the championship to go undefeated in any sort of a run. As we said, it's kind of so dynamic in there, But great to see it. Any chance Middlesbrough here? Are we getting Middlesbrough?
Oh, absolutely. There's a chance. A horrible journey, by the way. Brighton on the absolute south coast, all the way up as far as Borough. That'll be like those Brighton fans have a rough journey ahead of them. You could probably fly if there was, that'd be the handiest way, I think. But yeah, I think this could be very close. Again, we know Brighton are going to make changes. Guys that have come back from the World Cup and stuff like that, Caicedo and Trossards and probably McAllister's won't feature. And it'll be down to a lot of the lesser lights, Sarmiento and Mitomo and stuff like that, who he's looking to get them over the line here. This will be tough for Brighton. Going to the Riverside's always tough. United have had their arses handed them there a number of times. But it'll be very close. You could flip a coin on that one, I think.
Yeah, great fan base as well. Yeah, Morris, I was just going to update everyone there. Riyad Mahrez 1-0, 63 minutes gone, 1-0 Man City, Riyad Mahrez. Just take a few comments beforehand. Shout out to Sean Bradshaw, brother of late Paul Bradshaw, Paul, who was Ian's friend and who was a customer who used to come into the shop and stuff. Big, huge Brock Lesnar fan. Huge Man United supporter as well. We used to have great banter about football in the shop, the three of us. Paul's was a spirit watching the upper tier.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
sorry. Just to, because I've just been checking the score on that City game. I must have just checked it before you checked it. Mahrez scored a goal and Grealish with the assist. They both came on in the 60th minute. They come on together in the 60th minute, and by the 64th minute, they had created a goal and scored a goal between them. It was something when City played Everton a couple of weeks ago. I highlighted in the WhatsApp group. I think City were 87 minutes in, and Pep hadn't made a substitution. Tonight, 60 minutes gone, he's made 4 substitutions and they go a goal up.
No messing about. He's learned.
That's
Grealish, that 100 million super sub.
Well, he's starting to chip in with a few assists now, isn't he?
Yes, yeah. Finally.
Got a couple against Leeds.
After 18 months.
Yeah, well.
Sometimes it takes time. Our ref is back in the comments. Going 2-1 Blackpool. I'm not Appleton's biggest fan. He leaves it too late to make changes. We were 1-up on Saturday against Sunderland. Had options on the bench to kill it off the game, but ignores it. Not happy.
Sunderland on a great run as well, though. Sunderland on a really good run.
And playing really good football as well.
Yeah, another United player there doing himself no harm is the boy Amad Diallo. He's having a great season for Sunderland. He's involved in every game. Everton have just recalled the boy Ellis Sims. He was on loan at Sunderland, and obviously Everton are a bit goal shy. Sims has got 7 goals for Sunderland this season, and they've recalled him in January. He goes in alongside Calvert-Lewin, Maupay, and there was a 4th striker, might have been Rondon or something like that, who was going to try and have to get them out of trouble.
Yeah, interesting. Morris back in the comments as well. Potter in the mud, love it. That's an interesting comment, Morris. Is it that you're happy that Chelsea aren't doing well, or is it a Potter thing? Clarify that for us, because we are Potter fans on this show. So I wonder.
Yeah, I was going to say I'd imagine
it's
a Chelsea thing. Yeah,
it's more a Chelsea thing than a Potter thing, I would imagine. Brentford versus West Ham.
Yeah, David Moyes is under a little bit of pressure here at West Ham. He really is. Obviously, they got a draw the other night with Leeds, but things aren't going as well for West Ham. We obviously should mention as well about the West Ham owner, David Gold. Yeah. He passed away yesterday, I think it was, or the day before. It was the day of the game, actually. Great, again, another really, really good chairman at West Ham. Was the Birmingham City owner at one stage with his partner, Sullivan. The 2 lads have worked together for years, Sullivan and Gold, and then they have Karen Brady, who looks after the business side of things for them. And they're boyhood West Ham fans. They took over West Ham. It's their absolute dream. Brought West Ham back to the Premier League and to the London Stadium and stuff like that. Doing a terrific job there. A great supporter of football in the East End and stuff like that. And very sad news, obviously, him passing away. West Ham put in a little bit of a performance against Leeds, but not enough to get over the line. This will be tough. We know what it's like going to Brentford. We don't need to remind you of that, Niall. Or me, by the way. So, yeah, I think Brentford might sneak this. I think West Ham will make changes, and I think there'll be too many changes to get them over the line.
Yeah, I think Brentford, Thomas Frank is doing an exceptional job there at the moment. He's really like, even the other night against Liverpool, you see how he had coached them and all, and the game plan he had set up, and even without his talisman, even without Ivan Toney, they were exceptional. I said it in the preview, and all, and Buemo will be the danger.
Gotta say, you know, we talk about Tony being the talisman. Don't forget, he had Christian Eriksen in the team, and you know, Eriksen was doing very well there, and people were kind of saying, "Oh, they'll be in big trouble when Eriksen leaves." They haven't been in big trouble since he left. Obviously, there's talk of Tony maybe leaving the building as well. There's a lot of clubs interested, and there's obviously the FA are a bit interested at the minute as well. So we don't know where he'll end up. It could be Parkhurst or it could be St James's Park. But he, you know, I don't think Brentford struggle when they sell players because they're so good at getting that system to work for them, and that's down to Thomas Frank. You know, you look at Mbeumo the other night, a superb performance against you boys. A little bit of he goes under the radar a little bit, Mbeumo, for me. You know, we do tend to talk about Tony, and Mbeumo just goes under the radar, but putting in some great performances, and yeah, I think they'll get over the line at the weekend.
Yeah, he tends to come to the forefront and step up, and you really see his quality when Tony isn't there, or if Tony's injured or suspended or not available or something. He really is one of those guys. He steps up, not a problem, and he's happy to take on that mantle, you know. But to a man, they were brilliant the other night.
I just want to answer one of Morris's comments earlier on. We know how much of a fan I am of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Yeah.
He came on in the 5th minute this evening and was taken off in the 68th.
and some would say he got 63 minutes too much.
He got about 62 minutes too long. That is absolutely that's abysmal from him. Really is.
Marky back in the comments. Sims was class for Sunderland, be a big miss for them. Yeah, absolutely.
Really, really was. Top footballer, this kid. Keep your eye on him. He's going to be a real baller.
And Morris back in the comments. It's a Chelsea team, but I got great enjoyment for Potter at Brighton a few weeks back when they were battered. Yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah. Ian back in the comments. It's all about watching a good game, and we do have good lineup of matches. Yeah, absolutely.
We sure do. Yeah, you're right, Ian.
And Morris back in. Thomas Frank is great. He is. Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic.
Yeah, he's first class.
Absolutely. Sheffield Wednesday versus Newcastle.
Newcastle.
All day, every day.
And twice on a Sunday.
Morris back in as well. And Ketia, more goals than Aubameyang. Absolutely. Absolutely. And they're saying it now like they're surprised about it. I think Nketiah is going to score plenty of goals. I don't know what they're
So do I, yeah.
They're talking about Nketiah like he's
Bebe.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, but not the case. So this one is Newcastle all day. Cardiff versus Leeds.
Cardiff are a decent side at home of the Championship. They are a decent side at home of the Championship. Leeds, you know, will want to make some changes, but again, there's a lot of guys in that Leeds team that are fighting to get a spot in that Premier League lineup. You'll probably see the likes of Somerville start, and maybe, you know, a couple of other the lads there, the younger lights, shall we say, and maybe even the new boy Max Wober and stuff like that. He's just come in from Salzburg. I think Leeds will get through, but again, I think it'll be tight, real tight, you know.
Yeah, I would think so as well. Leeds again, another team. They're kind of performing, but kind of still struggling to a point as well. Aston Villa versus Stevenage.
Aston Villa.
No chance for Stevenage.
Move on.
and then I suppose we could say the tie it around really, where these guys they're playing at the moment, but they're going to be acquainted again. Man City versus Chelsea.
Yeah. Obviously at the empty had Chelsea will need to get the front foot a little more. They were a little bit passive at times tonight and sat back a little bit. Chelsea for me, really, really missing an out and out 9. You know, a guy that can go and lead the line for them and stuff like that. They play football up to a point, then they struggle a little bit. I expect Alvarez to start for City at the weekend, and I expect him to be chomping at the bit to show what he's capable of after the World Cup he had and stuff like that. I see this being City 3-1.
Interesting. I would have kind of hedged my bets, and I would have said probably City win the league game tonight, and then Chelsea go up there and do the reversal in the cup. Maybe, you know, who knows? They're accumulating injuries as well. They obviously lost Raheem tonight as well, so he goes on the list as well. And then we rounded out then
and Pulisic.
And Pulisic as well, yeah. Well, that's he's kind of no surprise, really. That's just waiting, isn't it?
There's a little bit of that, isn't
there? Where did we stop? Morris. Liam Cooper level on goals with Abba.
Jesus.
There you go. And we also, Acers is in the comments. Haaland just missed an open goal from 1 yard. Shocking.
Of course he did, because of captaining them in fantasy. Jesus Christ.
Absolutely. We rounded out that Oxford versus Arsenal.
Arsenal
all day. They're on a run at the moment, aren't we? And Dave's in the comments as well. Dave's LFC chats. Check out his Liverpool.
Hey, Dave, how are you, pal?
Fantastic. He's dropping content to beat the band at the moment. Shorts, videos, TikToks, the whole lot. All right, Dave. Sound. We'll be ready. Dave, give us your thoughts. Liverpool versus Wolves if you get a chance. And Morris back in the comments. Arsenal's second string will have a tough game here. They're useless. Stop, Morris. You're playing your team down all the time.
You know the worst thing about the open goal that Haaland just missed. It was set up by Kevin De Bruyne, who I also have in my team. Jesus Christ, man! I could have been looking at an assist and a double goal with me bonus points. What are the lads doing to me over there?
Yeah. Dave back in the comments as well. Liverpool 2-0 against Wolves. That'd be great, Dave. We take that all day.
You have high hopes, Dave. You have high hopes, pal.
We do have high hopes. Let's talk transfers.
I thought you were going to say transsexuals the way you said that. No, transfers. It's easier. You're right. Less political. We can get into far less trouble with transfers.
It might be more interesting. I'm going to kick it off. Manchester United seem to be in pursuit of goalkeepers. And they were linked the other day there with Jack Butland.
He had a medical today, I think.
It was Jack had the medical, did he? That's where they're at, is it?
I think he had a medical today. That was what was on the books, yeah.
Was it? Because they were also linked with Jan Sommer as well.
Sommer has already agreed to sign for Bayern Munich this summer. Sommer was out of contract in the summer. Bayern wanted a keeper because obviously Manuel Neuer's out in the medium to long term. Sommer will come in and take over as his understudy, and probably challenge him for the number 1 jersey. Jan Sommer's a smashing goalkeeper. Jack Butland was supposedly had his medical today for United. That'll be a loan deal until the end of the season. At the minute, David De Gea is in contract talks with United. He's hoping to sign a new contract at United with reduced terms, which will probably be the wind down of David De Gea, because I think in the summer United are looking out shelling out 50 to 60 million on a first choice goalkeeper.
Yeah, summer you would have been happy with, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, he's a great goalkeeper.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a super shot stopper. Really good goalkeeper. I like him a lot.
Yeah, Dave's back in the comments as well. He says, "Go strong for confidence." We've been going strong. We've been going strong, and the confidence has been getting worse. Maybe we need to go weak to raise the confidence or something like that.
Dave, I was so confident in you last week. I backed you, and you've lost and cost me a grand.
On your treble, yeah.
Jesus.
Morris back in the comments. Mitrovic double round captain. As you know, Morris, check out obviously our fantasy football show that's up there, Fantasy Chancer. Morris does it every week and sometimes twice a week. Yeah, I know. Yeah, frustrating. Acers back in the comments. Don't worry, Dazzler. Haaland won't be missing against United. Turn their defense a new asshole. I don't know. There's not too many teams that is tall.
He has to touch the ball though. That's the thing, you've got to get the ball to him. I fully expect we'll have the Butcher and Raphael Varane back for that game. And I'll be confident going into that game at Old Trafford. I really will. I don't think we've anything to fear the way we're playing at the minute and the way Ten Hag has the side, playing.
I said it already. I think if United can take 4 points out of their next 2 league games, I think they're banging a title race. Bang in a title race. And I'm calling it now on the podcast and it kills me to say it. But I think so. I was talking to people. I think United, if they're very clever the way they go about things, will be in a title race. Morris, that rules out Emi Martinez to Bayern then.
Yeah.
Which he was earmarked for, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And then Marky's back in the comments.
I think from Bayern's point of view, they were going to have to shell out a fee for Martinez, where Sommer's available in the summer on a free.
On a sign-on, yeah.
So it was an easier deal, and then they can, because that Bayern squad still needs a little bit of tinkering with, let's say. So anywhere you could save money, especially in a backup goalkeeper department or a guy who's going to challenge your number one, it's probably somewhere you can cut a corner because.
Yeah, and I'd imagine after winning the World Cup as well, Villa would want a serious wedge for the boy as well. Wouldn't be going that cheap either. Marky back in the comments, our resident ref, big fan of Butland, was great for Stoke. Thought it was a strange move to go to Palace to be second and third string at times. He can step in and do a job. Yeah, absolutely.
It was very strange considering they signed the boy Sam Johnson as well. The boy Sam Johnson and the boy Jack Butland both have England caps to their name. And Palace signed both of them in the summer, and you were like, you've got Vicente Guaita, who it's unlikely he's going to be taken. And then you've got, these two lads who are fighting out for second and third, but one of them's not going to get to play at all, pretty much, as third choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Morris asking the question to you, would you take Emmy at United?
No.
No?
No.
Why?
Just, I love him. I love him as a goalkeeper. I love him as a personality, as a character. Would I love him at my team, knowing what he's capable of? No.
Okay, interesting. Acer's back in the comments. He says, Dazzler will be drowning in puddles of tears singing Blue Moon. I don't think so. I have a funny feeling United are going to beat City. I'm saying it here now. I have a funny feeling. They're playing well. They're not coughing up much. They're a very different team than what played City earlier in the season. Ian back in the comments. Well, I told Sean Bradshaw to subscribe. Cheers, Ian. Appreciate that. Any support to give us. Also out there, anyone who can subscribe, like, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff to support the channel. We really appreciate it. Next up, this Mudrich is taking a bit of
taking the turn.
Taking a turn, isn't it? Taking a turn potentially to the blue side. But I had read this morning that Arsenal were in full agreement with him or something like that. And then I heard that Chelsea have come in and they were trying to do a number on the deal.
So I think the issue is Arsenal and Mudryk have come to an agreement.
Yeah.
Arsenal and Shakhtar haven't. Mudryk and Chelsea haven't come to an agreement, but Chelsea and Shakhtar are much closer to an agreement than Shakhtar and Arsenal are.
And that's about how much you're ponying up, or the content of the payments?
This is about how much you're ponying up. Absolutely. Okay. Arsenal value them at about 50 million total package. And Shakhtar have said, if we see the likes of an Anthony, who's gone from Ajax with a deal in the region of 80, and a Jack Grealish, who's gone from Villa in the region of 100 package, they say we value Mudryk much more than 50. And Chelsea are, dipping their toe in. And we know Mudryk where he wants to go. He's been posting tweets and images on Instagram for weeks of him watching Arsenal games at home in his house. So we know where he wants to go. And if it's a straight choice, he chooses Arsenal all day long. But if Arsenal can't get an agreement with Shakhtar, then Mudryk might end up in the blue of Chelsea playing in West London.
Yeah, Morris is back in. Bowley, baby. Yeah, Todd B flexing the wallet again.
Gotta tell you, this kid, by the way, is phenomenal.
Sensational, yeah.
He is, off the charts as a footballer. He really is. So good. Really looking forward to seeing him in the league, I have to say, no matter what jersey he's wearing.
Yeah, and they look like they're also going to drop a wedge on Enzo Fernandez as well. They don't seem to be scared off by the price at all.
The price isn't the issue on Enzo at the minute. The price is the makeup of the payment.
Yeah, the structure.
The structure. Chelsea spent 270 odd million in the summer. They've obviously outlaid on the boy Badiashile today, and they've signed the boy Detro Fofana from Molde, and there was another signing, Andre Santos from Brazil. So Chelsea have spent an awful lot of money. They've told Benfica they will pay the buyout clause, which is about 120 million euros, but they can only pay it over a 3-year deal, which works out at about 38 million a payment for 3 years. Now, Benfica's model, by the way, is buy from South America as cheap and as low as we can, fatten the calf in Portugal, and sell it to England, Spain, around there, and really, really land on your feet. Now, the thing was, Enzo Fernandez is only at Barcelona 6 months. They only just signed him. So they could have never imagined in their wildest dreams that this kid was going to be worth 100 million in 6 months' time. Now, the game he came on against Mexico in the World Cup, Argentina were struggling. He put the ball through to Di Maria, and Di Maria got the ball into Messi, and Argentina went 1-0 up, and the rest, as they say, is history. But he cemented himself in the team from then on. He was a vital part of it. He's young. He was linked with an awful lot of top clubs before the World Cup. United were heavily linked with him, and Liverpool were as well, by the way. And as happens a lot of the time, the work permit issue, getting them from South America to the UK, is quite difficult. So usually the likes of Spain or Portugal come in as the middleman, and then we take them from there because they'll have worked up either a percentage of games for their national side or something like that, or they can go in on a special dispensation. So this is Benfica looking to get the absolute max out of this they can, because they don't need to sell. Don't forget, they've just sold Darwin Núñez 6 months ago for almost 90 million. So they've got money there at the minute. They don't need to. They're flying in the Portuguese Superliga. Things couldn't be got. They're in the next round of the Champions League. Benfica couldn't be gone any better right now. And they don't need to sell. They can hang on to the summer and see if they can get Barca, see if they can get Chelsea, United, Liverpool, any other teams in the mix for this kid, and really inflate that price.
And being in the Champions League as well, it's not like they'll want to get rid of the kid either. He is sensational.
Absolutely. He's top.
But I think I read today that Chelsea are willing to go as far as 50 million in the initial payment because of FFP or something like that. They're borderline.
They're tapped with financial fair play. I was speaking to Ian about this earlier. And it's financial fair play that's got them by the ghoulies at the minute.
Yeah. Morris back in the comments. Imagine the combination with Mount, stuff of dreams.
Don't go changing on us, Morris, will you?
Yeah, never do. Where are we going? Brentford have agreed a deal to sign the Freiburg forward Kevin Schade, is it, or Shad?
Yeah, Shuda or something. There's a funny a funny pronunciation there.
Yeah.
He's coming in on a 6-month loan deal, and there's an option to buy, and there's also an obligation to make it permanent, provided he hits certain performance-related targets, games and goals. 20 million.
21 million, yeah, it seems a great deal, doesn't it?
But he's young.
With the possibility of losing Tony as well, yeah.
And he's quite a similar player to Tony. He's a kind of a big, rangy lad. He's got a nice long stride on him. He's quick. He finishes well. It's Brentford doing their homework, and it's Brentford saying, well, we've a square peg in that square hole. If we take that square peg out, we need to put another square peg in there. So they're going and getting, something that's very, very similar to Ivan Toney, knowing that works in the system that they play, and that Thomas Frank can coach this kid in a certain manner and get him to a level where, he becomes comfortable and looks like he's a baller in that Brentford team.
Yeah, absolutely. The other one that's come up, a goalkeeper that we're kind of fond of as well, but he probably feels the same about Liam Cooper that you do, Meslier. He's been linked with some big moves here. He's been linked with Chelsea, Newcastle, and Bayern Munich, but obviously Bayern Munich, I'd imagine, not going to happen now with the Sommer move. But what you thinking on this one?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's been lead standout player for the last couple of years for me. He really has.
by default. He's had to be.
He has had to be, but
Mm.
there's also a lot of stuff that people have to do that they don't necessarily get over the line. But this kid's been excellent. He really has. He's built really well for a goalkeeper. You can put your hands around his waist, but he goes out. He got that V shape. He's got a nice set of shoulders on him as well. Takes the cross well. Distributes the ball really well. He's a super shot stopper. I only see him getting better and better. He's so young as in goalkeeper terms. He really is. He came in initially to Leeds only to challenge the number one. Got the jersey and hasn't let go of it so far. He's been excellent. To get him out of Chelsea, you're talking 50 to 60 million. Or sorry, to get him out of Leeds, you're talking 50 to 60. The reason I said Chelsea was he was linked with Chelsea. But you're talking 50 to 60 million. And that's a lot to spend on a goalkeeper. That's a lot of money to spend on a goalkeeper. Gotta say.
Absolutely. Morris back in the comments. Calvin Phillips, that lad must be tired from always playing. You'd wonder, does he even train?
The Phil Jones of Manchester City and Leeds, huh?
Morris back in with a different viewpoint. Don't rate Meslier at all, not a bit.
He's quality. He's very, very good. Really is.
I often judge a goalkeeper by how tough it is with the four lads that are standing in front of you.
Yeah, and if you look at the four lads that stand in front of him, he's a baller, that kid.
Absolutely. I think if you put him behind a decent defence there, you're going to see a quality goalkeeper.
When I called, Leeds possibly getting a result at Anfield a few weeks ago, I said, if Leeds are to get at in here, this kid needs to be man of the match. He was, and they got something. He's very, very good. I gotta say, Morris, you're doing him a disservice there,
You need to stop predicting Liverpool stuff, Darren. It keeps on coming through.
Sorry about that, no.
It's very difficult for me at the moment. We're going to round it out with a man that you adore, of course. You made it clear the other night. One Cristiano Ronaldo, who got his move to Saudi. But will I
tell you a funny story about that? About what happened the other night?
Go on.
So obviously I cut the jersey up the other night, and I said to you, I'm gonna bring it down when it's finished, and I'm gonna give it to the dog. And I told everyone, I says, I'll bring it down, whether she shits in it, bites it, chews it, whatever, blah blah. So my beautiful wife Rosanna lets the dog out in the mornings to go to the bathroom and stuff like that. Went downstairs, found the t-shirt, was like, oh no, he's gonna kill the dog. Look what it's after doing to the t-shirt. Didn't realise I'd carved it up on the thing.
I hope she didn't go out and order a replacement.
No, she didn't, thank God.
Because that's what she would do, wouldn't she? She'd go out
and
order a replacement.
Because
I have a new one coming for you.
I have a new one on the way, don't worry, sweetheart.
Does that mean Rosanna doesn't watch the shows?
That's comedy gold. She's listening at the minute.
Good.
She is listening at the minute.
Morris said he did. Then again, I didn't rate Ramsdale either. Yeah, absolutely.
There you go, and he's a serious keeper as well. That kid, love him.
Absolutely. But this Ronaldo thing, he came out and he said that apparently the quote is he had many offers from Europe, which straight away I don't believe.
None of it.
But he turned around and he said he was asked why he moved to Saudi Arabia, and he said that his work in Europe was done.
Yeah,
that was his comment, basically, So,
and did you hear what else he said?
No, go on.
Where he said, the challenge of coming to South Africa was massive.
Oh, that's what he said, did he?
He said South Africa, and nobody said a word, and they all just sat there looking at each other like this. And I see he's gotten a special dispensation as well for Georgina and himself. Okay. Because under Saudi law, unmarried couples aren't allowed to live together. But this has been waived for Cristiano and Georgina because of obviously the position he will hold at Al Nassr.
He never stops changing the world, this man. Sure he doesn't. Never stops changing the world.
Maybe that's what he's gone there for. Maybe he's going to do a bit for women's human rights, and who knows? Maybe we'll see far less journalists being beheaded. You just don't know.
Maybe when he said South Africa, maybe there's something he knows. Maybe FIFA leaks something. We were talking about the other night about if the World Cup is back to Africa or something like that. Who knows? Acers in the comments. Chelsea just missed a sitter.
Oh,
apparently
could have done us all a favour and got an equaliser there, Chelsea, couldn't he?
Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
find out.
Yeah, just missed
Let's find out.
I didn't even see who missed it.
Lewis Hall from Chelsea sends an effort wide of the target, created by Carney Chukwuemeka. Very dangerous position, should probably score. Oh, well then.
Interesting. At least they're creating chances anyway. That's the main thing.
That's the plus point, isn't it?
Let's round it out then with our beat the bookie.
Beat the bookie. Beat the bookie.
beat
Beat the bookie. Beat the bookie. We could have a tune like that, couldn't we? Or a team song or something like that.
Absolutely. You nearly
I
beat the head
like
off
the
last
way
week, didn't you?
the way tonight you wore your the money team when we were doing beat the bookie. I like that. That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I was thinking money in the bank as well.
Right. Okay. I should have just sat in my briefcase in my lap for the night.
Yeah, should have sat up in front of the telly.
You know, I walked around my house today, like for the whole day with that briefcase in my hand after the news that Money in the Bank was coming to the O2 in London on July 1st. I walked around this gaff in the Rick Road with a briefcase in my hand for the whole day. And it was all going well until the DPD man knocked at the door and the shit hit the fan.
You should have had a hanging from the light there just over your head.
I had to hang it out with something else while I took the box off.
Nice. And that's not a narrow handle either. I'm just saying.
It's not, you know.
A narrow handle at all.
That's game over at Stamford Bridge.
Game over 1-0.
Game over 1-0. Shitty closed the gap ever so slightly on Arsenal. What's it down to now? 5 points down to 5, and they have to play Arsenal twice. Arsenal might be looking at United for favours. Just saying.
Let's see how it goes. I think this league is going to tighten up immensely. It's going to be a serious title race this year. That's my thinking on it. Ian back in. Put Cristiano Ronaldo in the Football Hall of Fame. Right. Beat the bookie. Shall you begin or shall I begin?
You shall definitely begin.
I should definitely begin. I'm assuming someone hasn't done their homework yet then, no?
You begin. I'll just peruse here in the background for a moment.
I'll just check out a few things here.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I've only got. What have I got? I've only got 3. I think I've 3 bets for you.
Right. Okay.
So the first one I kicked it off, which is kind of an interesting one. The two Manchester teams -1, Man United and Man City, both -1. 5-1. 5-1.
It's not bad.
Not a bad bet to start
out with. Okay.
Get a few kick going. The second one I did, I called it a joint killers bet, but as I said earlier, with the Burnley Bournemouth game, it's not really a joint killers just because
absolutely.
Of the division. But I went with Blackpool, Burnley, and Middlesbrough.
And Blackpool, Burnley, and Borough.
Yeah.
Blackpool, Burnley, and Borough. Right. Let's say okay. It's got to be 28.
It's 75-1.
Whoa. That's a chunk of change there, isn't it?
Very tasty. Very tasty.
That is a chunk of change.
Mm.
My word. Wow.
And then I went with your one, both teams to score. So I went with both teams to score. I went with Man City and Chelsea, Liverpool and Wolves, Bournemouth and Burnley, and West Ham and Brentford, 9-1. Not a huge amount of odds. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 fixtures in it, 9-1. Not too bad, but you might get a bit more if you kind of dictated the results as well. But on
absolutely,
some of them, it's a little bit iffy.
And you know what? I would say on an FA Cup, a little tip for everybody. I would say on an FA Cup weekend, absolutely wait until you see the teams before you start putting your money on things. Because if a team comes out and makes 6, 7, 8 changes, it just could be too much, you know, and even when they're a Premier League team and they're playing a team from a lower division, 6, 7 changes is tough. You know, you lose that cohesion and stuff like that. And that can be worrying. When I see a lot of changes like that, I start thinking, oh, have we got a shock on our hands here?
Tell us this. Do you think, you know, we talk about the FA Cup a lot and we talk about the romance of it and the moments it's given us down through the years and all that kind of stuff, and its relevancy and all that kind of stuff. Do you think there should be guidelines there to say that the top teams and stuff like that can only make a certain amount of changes, that they have to respect the tournament and all that kind of thing? And I know obviously you have injuries and stuff like that that can affect it as well, but I mean in
Yeah.
general, if you have a team there with a full squad and they come in and they just abuse it and they make 7-8 changes, you know what I mean, and take the
You
luster
see,
off.
we talk all the time about player welfare as well, don't we?
Mm.
And I mean, if this is a competition, and let's say you're Liverpool, and the Premier League and the Champions League are your bread and butter, and the FA Cup could be a little bit down that list. It could be pretty similar to a Carabao Cup, on a par for that third spot of what you're aiming to win in the season. You've got certain players have to play games. If Liverpool have an injury in 3 weeks' time and they need to bring in a centre back, they need to know that Nat Phillips has played a certain amount of time, that he's not going to be what you'd call ring rusty. He needs minutes in his legs. He needs game time. Carabao Cup and FA Cup play a vital role in that. And I think it would be unfair, with the bigger teams. Me personally, I wouldn't allow the European teams in from another round. I would say, third round, everybody comes into the draw. Leave an extra, if there's 6 English teams involved in Europe, 4 in the Champions League and 2 in the Europa, or 3 in the Europa, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I would cut them out of round 3 because that's when the big boys come in. I would jump them into round 4, and they're going to be a little bit further down the line. And maybe, because for me, the FA Cup, until we get to the quarterfinals, nobody's taking this seriously. Absolutely nobody. If you're Bat City and you're playing away somewhere, you might be thinking, yeah, opportunity to pick up a few pounds and keep the club going. But if you're United, if you're Arsenal, if you're Liverpool, I personally don't think right now they're thinking about this as a potential trophy, because right now it's game time, which will get them to a certain point in the competition. And when you get to that point in the competition, i.e. the quarterfinals, it's now we turn the light switch on. Now we've 3 games before we can lift the trophy. Now the focus is on this. My first team players into the side and stuff like that. And, it's difficult because we know obviously players have gone off the World Cup and they've come back and stuff. And some of them got more time than others, depending on when they went in. And guys are probably looking for a week off after traveling back with their family or wherever they were, and stuff like that. Not having much of a Christmas because, again, they've been in training. So you've all these, permutations, and everyone next guys. So I think you've got to allow teams make changes. But for me, I would take the European clubs out of the third round. I'd give the 7 spots to, 7 extra qualifiers from outside. So in the, on the Ryman and all of that kind of thing, non-league teams, let them try and get a run at it. There's 7 more teams that might end up with some money in the bank. It might help them like that. Like that when I got money in the and generate a bit of revenue, keep the club going and stuff like that. They could get big toys still. They could be away at Newcastle, up at St James's Park. They could be at Leeds, Everton, Villa, all of that. And it just takes a little bit of pressure off some of the bigger teams for an extra round,
Yeah, you think for some of those clubs, you could get a big tasty draw that could really generate your revenue for the year.
Absolutely. And I mean, look what happens then, right? Look, there's the City and Chelsea game, right? They play each other tonight. They now play each other in, is it Sunday or is it Monday?
I'd say it'd be Sunday. Yeah, no, it's Sunday. I'd say because Arsenal is Monday.
Arsenal's Monday, so they've got to play again the weekend. Excuse me. Now, how many changes are you going to see from the 22 that started tonight? You're going to see, I would say, bare minimum 12. Bare minimum.
You think there'd be that many?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's a big shit.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, right, we can look at what started tonight. Well, Julian Alvarez, he plays. 1. The boy Rico Lewis, who started the last 2 games, he plays. Fatty Phillips, he plays. Jack Grealish, he probably plays. They probably play the second choice goalkeeper, the boy Gomez that plays at left back. Like there's 5-6 changes straight away. Because those players need game time. That if in the running, City need to say, we need a left back, we need a right back, we need someone.
Yeah,
the boys are ready to go.
Yeah, something picks
absolutely.
Up a game or something. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And Chelsea will make enough changes. The only difference they will have to City is City have a luxury of having a bigger squad at the minute than Chelsea. You know, so Chelsea may not be able to make as many
and
with the fact that they've got so many injuries.
Exactly. Yeah, they'd be forced into. Yeah, no, good show.
But I mean, other than that, I think I'd expect at least 12 from the 22 that start to not start. And again, I don't think Pep and I don't think Potter look at this as a viable trophy option just yet, because they've both had an awful draw. They now have each other, and they're going, we can't even look at this as a trophy until the next round, whether we know whether we're in the hat or we're out.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think with the FA Cup there needs to be something. I think it's like, I think, you know, the Carabao works at the minute. Like it knows its role in the system. You know, it knows it's there to blood youngsters, to give guys game time.
It's found its format. It's found its
format because now obviously we've cut out extra time. We go straight to penalties. The competition is more exciting. You know, you've got this Carabao, the energy drink attached to this exciting competition. This works on so many levels. It's scary.
Yeah.
The FA Cup at the minute has lost its way, and it needs. I don't know what it needs, whether it needs, you know, somebody to come in and attach themselves to it and say, we're going to rebuild this competition and we're going to put X amount of money into it and we're going to do this and we're going to do this. But the reason we're going to do it is because we want to have a say-so in it, you know, and for the better. Because at the minute, the FA Cup is dying on its knees a little bit. And it's horrible to say. And it's horrible to think of because, you know, what a competition it was when I was growing up as a kid and stuff like that. And when you were growing up, like FA Cup Day started at 9:00 when you turned on BBC and, you know, you're watching lads going out for a walk after their breakfast and stuff like this. And they're at the team hotel and all. And now it's is it 5:30 on a Saturday evening?
Yeah, I think it's 5:30, yeah. And I think this year it went on till about 8:30 or something with the penalties.
And it's the whole thing. It's just so protracted now, isn't it? It needs a change in format, I think.
I think it's more a case as well. That is definitely needed as well. But I think they also need to look at the whole calendar, really, don't they, and see where things fit in and how they mesh. And because there's just so much football at the moment that we're eventually going to get to a stage where clubs are going to need huge squads and there'll be no breaks at all. You just run straight through 12 months and you just take guys out for certain months for rest and stuff like that. It'll eventually get that way because there's just more and more football coming. We heard about this idea, this World Club thing, 32 teams.
And don't forget, every 3 years for a World Cup, Gianni Infantino's an absolute cabbage. He really is. He's so poor on so many levels. Like that devalues a competition that has been held for the last, 100 years, every four years. Now all of a sudden you're going to have a much bigger multiple of winners as you go down the line because it's now crammed into every three, and it doesn't need to be.
And more countries, not more countries, but more countries getting. To
and I mean, the more countries thing for me isn't a big issue. I'm okay with that.
Except it's more games.
It is more games. But we're football fans. So if the World Cup had an extra two extra groups now,
but I suppose where I'm coming from is if it's more games and we talk about player welfare, you're heading over to the Manchester derby. It's not going to be much good if Rashford was injured and Haaland was injured and De Bruyne was injured, and
No, but I think that's you can't control that either. Because a guy can. Don't forget, Santiago Canizares dropped the bottle of aftershave in his foot and missed the World Cup. You can't legislate for that. But I do understand where you're going with.
Yeah.
The likelihood is that guys are going to be injured when their bodies are at their max and when they've nothing left to give. And this is why they're all wearing these, the stat trackers and stuff like that on their necks. So that, the guy that's sitting on the side of the pitch with the laptop can say to the manager, Johnny over there, number 7, is running out of steam. You need to get him off or he pulls something. That's important.
Nearly sending us home with the last comment. Who here remembers
Who remembers the
Subbuteo?
Subbuteo?
We remember
What a
it
game.
well. We remember it well.
I had mine. My sister used to own a sweet shop.
Yeah.
And I got mine. We got 2 breadboards off the bread man because he used to deliver
nice.
to the shop in the house. The shop was opposite the house.
Mm.
So we got 2 breadboards, and then my dad stapled the 2 breadboards together.
Yeah.
And then we stretched the Subbuteo pitch and stapled it to the breadboard. So it was like a carpet. So I could pick my pitch up and move it to anywhere in the house, and then put my goals and my goalkeepers on the long sticks and the balls and the corner flags. And there was a stadium and everything at one stage, wasn't there?
Yeah, they really developed it, over time.
But you remember at one stage you could only get certain teams, and to go to like certain places. Like I remember going into the likes of what's the place that was on Abbey Street there? They used to do like little game and stuff, and bits and pieces like that. And you used to be able to get the pack, and the pack had the goalkeeper because he was the long one on the long stick. Because remember, that had to go through the back of the goal.
That's right.
And then you'd get your 10 players all lined up, and your little football, and that'd be Argentina, and then you'd get Italy and Brazil and England, and that was what a game that was. Yeah. It's shocking to think that our kids missed out on something like that. That was tops.
Yeah, absolutely tops. Great comment.
Yeah.
Have you any for us this week?
No, because my Paddy Power app doesn't work.
Okay, very good. Well,
I do apologise. I'll
drop a few in the comments.
Something in the comments.
Absolutely, yeah. Brilliant. Well, listen, a pleasure as always. Thanks to everyone in the chat who came on and commented and stuff like that. Of course, like on the way out if you can. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button as well, and the bell notification, because most of our shows at this stage now are live, so you'll be notified when we go live. If you want to contact the show, it's the Upper Tier Podcast at gmail.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You'll find us out there on a daily basis, posting stuff, and we will be back with you. I will be back with a Shankly Sessions previewing the Wolves game for my sins, and then we will be back Monday with a roundup as always. Back with the
I'm back in work on Monday, so you won't see me till next Thursday, unfortunately.
So you won't see Darren till next Thursday. He's back in work on Monday.
I'm back working Mondays, and I don't finish work till 9 o'clock, so unfortunately that counts me out because it takes me about 45 minutes to get home. But I will be an ever present on a Thursday evening. And if Monday's quieting down, you never know, you might get to see me again soon.
Well, we've adjusted his contract to part-time anyway, so it's all good. We're going to be reducing his wage down like David De Gea, so it's not a problem at all. Until next time, a pleasure, my friend. Cheers, folks.
Thanks, brother. Cheers.
Have a good weekend.